Ladies and gentlemen, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals happened yesterday, and the Boston Celtics took it home 126-110. Going up 2-0 in the series, going to Indiana. For me, fantastic game, man. Fantastic game. For my Boston Celtics, if y'all didn't like the close game in Game 1 and y'all wanted them to blow the Pacers out, this was the game for you. Over on Boston side, there's a lot of things to talk about today, man. Well, actually, before we go to Boston side, I want to shout out Pascal Siakam because Pascal Siakam was cooking the heck out of us, man. So shout out to Pascal Siakam. I also want to shout out Andrew Nembhard, bro. I understand he didn't have like a dominant performance, but the way Andrew Nembhard has stepped up this playoff run has really impressed me. I like his game. He got a bag. He can shot create. He can play make. I really like Andrew Nembhard's game. Shout out to Obi Toppin giving you solid minutes off the bench. Reese wasn't as effective as I would like him to be. But the big news of this game was Tyrese Haliburton, midway through the third quarter, was not able to return. And that is because, according to Woj, Pacers All-NBA Tyrese Haliburton, who was out for the rest of Game 2 versus the Celtics, departed with left hamstring soreness. Sources tell ESPN. Haliburton missed 10 games with a left hamstring strain in January. First of all, Hallie, get better. Get better. Like I've been saying throughout these whole playoffs, injuries are the worst thing in sports. First of all, they actually cause people brutal pain. But second of all, it's tough to see, teams not at their full potential, players not at their full potential. And Hallie, leading up to this game, in my opinion, was really getting back in shape, and was looking like in-season tournament Hallie more than, post All-Star break Hallie. And the fact that even if he comes back, we're probably going to get post All-Star break Hallie, that's not good. That's not good. As much, like, I really want to give the Indiana Pacers credit, but they were already in an uphill battle going into the series fully healthy. But with Tyrese not being at 100%, this hamstring injury does seem relatively serious as well. If I'm Indiana, I'm not playing Hallie the rest of this series. And if I'm the Boston Celtics, gotta sweep them. Gotta sweep them. There's no need to go to 5. There's no, especially now that we're getting deep into the playoffs. Knock on wood, the Celtics have actually been relatively healthy outside of Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, getting deep into the playoffs. Every single game that you're not out there that's unnecessary, save your time, save your energy. Don't even risk that type of shit. Let's take care of business in Indiana and move on to the NBA Finals. Over on the Boston Celtics side, and this is going to be the title of the video. Shout out Jaylen Brown. It's time we give Jaylen Brown his credit. It's time for me to apologize to Jaylen Brown. There's a lot of great basketball that's being played, and you might as well make some money off of it using the sponsors of this video, Prize Picks, my personal favorite way to play daily fantasy sports. All you gotta do is download their app or go on their website and sign up for an account. And how you make money on here is pretty simple, and I feel like it is up all of y'all's alley because y'all know so much basketball. They got a bunch of different sports up here, but I know y'all like basketball, so we're gonna go to the NBA tab right here. They got a bunch of different stats on the board. They got the popular picks of the day, so we're actually gonna stick with the popular picks of the day. I'm expecting a pretty big game from Jaylen Brown today, so I'm gonna go more on Jaylen Brown points right there. They got Miles Turner at 4.5 3-point attempts in this game, and I feel like that's just a little bit too high. I'm gonna go less on the Miles Turner 3-point attempts. I'm gonna go ahead and put $5 on this lineup right here. Press submit lineup, and boom, that is how you make a lineup on Prize Picks. And thanks to our friends over at Prize Picks, if you guys use code SLZ, you guys can get a 100% match on your first deposit of up to $100. So if you put in $100, they'll match it with $100 of their own, and now you got $200 to play with. Links to everything will be in the description down below, and shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video. Appreciate y'all, man. Jaylen Brown, I am sorry for doubting your game. For those who don't know, after the Eastern Conference Finals last season, I was very adamant on it's going to be a mistake to sign Jaylen Brown to a supermax. You know, the conversation isn't about a max. The conversation is about a supermax. And, you know, my logic last season was the fact that, Jaylen Brown, while he's a good player, I'm not taking anything away from him. He is just not supermax worthy. And with the new salary cap rules being introduced, the Boston Celtics will regret giving Jaylen Brown a supermax. I was throwing out the idea of trading him for Bradley Beal. I was throwing out the idea of trading him for Damian Lillard. I was throwing out the idea of trading him for Kevin Durant, if that was a thing. I don't even think KD was available, but, that was a thing as well. And I would like to apologize. I would like to apologize, especially if the Celtics win a championship this season. I'm going to keep it a stack. A championship this season justifies any and every move that the Boston Celtics have made. Building around Jason Tatum, signing Jaylen Brown to a supermax, trading away Marcus Smart. All of these things are justified with a championship this season. Now, while job is not finished, the way Jaylen Brown has been playing this season, the way Jaylen Brown has been playing in these playoffs, the improvements that Jaylen Brown have made to his game, you got to give credit when credit is due. You got to give credit when credit is due. And I think the most underrated factor about Jaylen Brown's career and Jaylen Brown's game, and this is something that is paying dividends for the Boston Celtics this whole playoff run, is the fact that Jaylen Brown is not an injury-prone player. He's been injured before, but building around, it's crazy because I was actually giving the NBA props this season for having one of the healthiest regular seasons we've ever seen. But then to that turn around and have the most injury-riddled playoffs we've ever seen is a crazy thing to see unfold. But yeah, I'm looking at this Boston Celtics team, and while, other teams have made it work, while other teams have more talented number one options, hell, even number twos, I really do think the biggest reason as to why the Celtics have been so stable, the Celtics have been so consistent in the conference finals and dominating the Eastern Conference, along with really good management, along with luck, along with being in a weaker conference, it is the fact that this team, this franchise, have decided to build around very durable players. You know what I'm saying? Even through all the stinkers that Jason Tatum has, off the top of my head, I can only really think of, the 2023 Game 7 against Miami as a game where Jason Tatum got injured, and him being out there was just... First of all, he shouldn't have been out there for as long as he was, but that was really the only time in recent memory where I really feel like injuries were such a really, really big component to the Celtics' downfall. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that we've been injury-free. You know what I'm saying? Like Rob Will has been a thing. Marcus Smart has been a thing. Hell, even Jaylen Brown to a certain extent, like his hand injury, I believe in 23 or 22, have been a thing. But regardless, as other franchises in the league are building around injury-prone players, again, knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't jinx the Boston Celtics, but I really do think a big part of this team's success throughout the whole season is managing everyone's minutes, not putting too much load on every single player, which is a luxury that the Celtics have with the talent that they have as well. But also in these playoffs as well, building around durable players that will always be there has been a blessing, and I'm definitely not taking that for granted. But also as a talent, the names I was bringing up, trading Jaylen Brown for Dame, Bradley Beal, KD, again, 3 all injury-prone players, maybe with higher ceilings. Not Bradley Beal. I'm taking Bradley Beal out of the equation. I'm sorry I even never brought that up. Dame and KD, listen, KD's KD, so that I'm still kind of... KD's KD. But Dame, I feel like this team has built too much of a defensive identity, and the makeup of this team would be completely different with Dame. But nevertheless, I don't want to make this about Dame and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has proven his worth. I'm really big on continuity this year, y'all. I'm really big on continuity this year. If you look at the teams that consistently make it to the finals, a really big part of that is their continuity. Even if we look at a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, which is a team that makes so many different crazy moves every single season, the fact that they're still consistent on, their core is LeBron and AD. That is a reason as to why the Los Angeles Lakers have had relatively consistent success in this LeBron AD era. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the Denver Nuggets, it's the same thing. And I think for the Boston Celtics, re-signing Jaylen Brown and just doubling down on, this is going to be a franchise built around Jason Tatum, built around Jaylen Brown. There is no hesitation in that. We are moving in this direction. We're not thinking about blowing the team up in terms of changing the makeup of the whole squad. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are our top two guys. Joe Mazzulla is our coach, period, point blank. I do think these decisive decisions are paying off in these playoffs. So I want to give a shout out to Jaylen Brown, and also just from a production standpoint, he has been the most consistent player in these playoffs. Period, point blank. We're looking at a guy who's averaged 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 54% from the field, 37% from 3, 64% from the line is poor, but nevertheless, very, very effective transition player. He's been making some difficult shots. He's always been the guy that I'm never worried about his aggression towards the game. I'm never worried about Jaylen Brown being too passive for the most part. So again, I want to give Jaylen Brown his credit, because Jaylen Brown has been balling the fuck out. And in these last 2 games, if Jaylen Brown, I'm going to just keep it a stack. If Jaylen Brown did not play the way he's been playing, we would have lost the last 2 games, even with the Tyrese Halliburton injury in consideration. Just period, point blank. Obviously, the shot in game 1, with the way Tatum was stinking it up in game 2, which I'll touch on real quick. Jaylen Brown has been the reason why we are up 2-0, and is the biggest reason as to why that is. He's been a big reason as to why we've been able to wither the Jason Tatum stinkers in these playoffs. Shout out to Jaylen Brown, bro. Shout out to Jaylen Brown. An apology is owed. Also, the lefty conversations, the no left hand conversations. He's not perfect. He hasn't gotten to a point, I'm sorry, y'all, where his left hand is a strong hand now. But Jaylen Brown got a left hand now, y'all. And that thing is solid. He goes to it when he goes to it, it's not an instant turnover. You gotta respect it. He finishes with his left hand as well. And he just hasn't really been a turnover machine. 2.8 turnovers is not crazy for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has just been really, really rock solid in these playoffs, and he's been considered a leader of this team. This is why I love the decisions the Celtics made this past offseason, is because whether they liked it or not, it pushed this team to be centered around Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's leadership, which is a step that they needed to take at some point, and I just love the fact that I'm seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Drew as well. Drew is having his best series so far. 15 points on 6 of 7 shooting, along with 10 assists and 1 turnover. Derek White, Mr. Utility Man, with 23 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, was playing good defense out there, good from 3. Shout out to Derek White, dog. O'Shea Brissett was giving us really good minutes off the bench. Understand on the box score, 2 points and 3 rebounds doesn't pop off, but the 3 steals do. And I will say the lineup where they put Jason Tatum at the 5, while we were getting killed on the boards, which is honestly natural, I really did like those minutes because of the fact that the Pacers weren't able to just mismatch hunt Al Horford. And the Boston Celtics were able to neutralize that, get out on the break, and play at damn near, in my opinion, like a faster pace than the Indiana Pacers. They just couldn't deal with Jason Tatum at the 5. And his passing abilities at the 5 as well. So yeah, fantastic game from the Boston Celtics as a collective. Indiana, I can't lie, I would be surprised at this point if it goes to 5, unfortunately. But, you never know what happens in Indiana. But I do want to spend some time and talk about Jason Tatum, man. Jason Tatum, listen, I have been defending you a lot in these playoffs. And I will still acknowledge the fact that you have affected the game in a lot of different areas outside of scoring. I'm not going to act like you've been bad. I think Jason Tatum has been good. Not great, not dominant. He's been good. But I will say this. We are 5, 10, 12 games into the playoffs, and I've yet to see Jason Tatum put a performance from start to finish and just be dominant. And that scares me. That does scare me. Because while I'm giving the Celtics as a whole a credit for doing their job, for dominating teams, injured teams like they should be, if we're just talking about the conversation around Jason Tatum has not been at the level where he should be. And I will say this, and I'll just leave it on this. There's still time to prove people wrong. Who knows? He might just go off in the finals. Fuck it. With the way things are trending, if the Celtics lose in the NBA Finals, if they get there, if they lose in the NBA Finals, the only person to blame, I wouldn't say the only person, the main person to blame, because everything is just so set up for it. You know what I'm saying? You've had an easy road to the finals, which I will acknowledge. You have help around you that's been able to uplift the team when you're not having good shooting nights, which is a luxury that other star players don't have. Even the team that everyone said, hey man, y'all cool against everyone, but against Denver, y'all about to get cooked. They've been eliminated by another team. And even the team that eliminated them, after losing game 1 against Dallas, they're looking a little shaky right now. Throughout these whole playoffs, Jaylen Brown has done his job. Derek White has done his job. Drew Holiday, couple hiccups, but he's starting to pick it up. Peyton Pritchard has done his job. Al Horford has overexceeded with the absence of Kristaps Porzingis, and Kristaps Porzingis has been injured, so I'll give him that. Joe Mazzulla has done his job. The only player that hasn't consistently done their job to the level where they should be is Jason Tatum. And if Jason Tatum does not pick it up, all eyes are on you, buddy. I gotta keep it real. I gotta keep it real. If the Celtics lose, you better be ready. Or just don't lose. Yeah, I do have this series ending in 4 now instead of 5. And if it goes to 5, I will be surprised at this point. It is not an expectation. Unfortunately, Indiana, y'all have had a great season. Don't be stagnant, though. There are things that y'all can improve on. Get Tyrese healthy. But with that being said, things are heating up. And I'm out of here, man. Peace.